Hey, what's up? We're in the next part now. Please go check out the previous part to gauge your bearings, to figure out what we're talking about, where we at, what's happening, what's good in the hood, what's baking and what's cooking. All right. Yes, I was speaking about my experiences today and what it is that God showed me, which was a tantamount of what would have happened to Rachel, for instance, upon being remembered following having been taunted by her sister Leah, because of the fact that she couldn't have a baby. And Leah's behavior was inspired by her sorrow, which I understand, by Jacob loving Rachel more. Okay. However, Penina was just evil. That's all that there was over there when she was giving grief to Hannah. And the Lord remembered Hannah. I then went on, upon explaining all that, said that I'm going to explain to you guys what happened today at the mall, and also a couple of other things that the Lord showed me to make me feel better. I did mention in the previous part that I've been feeling really trashy ever since 2023 came in, because I've been like, whoa, so this is the 9th year of sorrow that I'm entering into. I've been in this for way too long. A whole decade almost has been taken away from me. They've ripped apart my 30s, so I never got to experience the dirty 30s by myself. Like, you know, just being a human being that is in her 30s. I've been in prison the whole time. I've been getting persecuted the whole time. And I've been looking at God, much like Naomi. The Lord has made me bitter. But then God blessed Naomi with Ruth and caused Ruth to follow her to her land. And she ended up getting a grandchild, the grandchild of which would then be in the lineage of Jesus Christ. So a woman who thought that she had lost all her children essentially gained an adopted kid in Ruth. When she thought she could have no more ditlogolo walking around, granted that her sons had passed away, Naomi gave her, Ruth gave her a baby, right, through Boaz type establishment thing. How it is that the Lord remembers Naomi, remembers Rachel, remembers Hannah, remembers Joseph. He is still remembering people today who have been long suffering, who have been feeling disillusioned, who've been going through stuff for so long that they, even though they don't give up on God or drop their faith, are so embittered and so in the belief that kuphelile, it's over, that they just end up believing that God is God. He's in the heavens and he does whatever he pleases, and it appears that what he pleases to do is just leave me to languish for the rest of my days. So at least I'll get into heaven, but I'm going to get into heaven as a bitter woman like Naomi. You know how her name was something else? I forgot. I mean, goodness, I used to have a King James Bible in here. I do actually still have it. Naomi had another name, and she converted her name to Naomi precisely because the Lord had made her life bitter or something. I just want to go to that portion of scripture to help you understand that I've been feeling like Naomi. So I longed for children, still long for children. Every time I see kids, like people with children, I get very sad, especially when they're young. When these kids are still like either babies or toddler age, I just get all emotional because I'm so broody, and I've been broody for a very long amount of time. Since I was 23, I've wanted to have children, right? 22 or 23, I struggle with Bible chronology, so forgive me guys if I just keep on going back and forth and back and forth. I'm looking for the book of Ruth here. I've been wanting to have kids ever since then, so I languish every time I see kids, never mind out there in the mall with their parents, but also on TV, also on like Facebook. There are all these, like Facebook has started to recommend a whole bunch of baby content to me because I scroll through so much of it and I like it to a point where the Facebook algorithm is now recommending all things baby, and I wish they wouldn't do that because some days I can't stand to look at kids. Goodness gracious, let me just go to the 182 to the table of contents. I suck with Bible chronology. I did let you guys know. 182, but there is no. Anyway, yeah, no. To a point, guys, where I'm being recommended nothing but babe content, mostly, largely, and I some days am so bereft with sorrow that I can't stand to open Facebook because I know that I'm gonna see some baby face. I wish I'd never liked so many baby photos enough for YouTube, not YouTube, but Facebook to just like recommend such people who upload such content to me. That's where I'm at. So I've been feeling embittered, just like Naomi. Do you understand? I've been feeling embittered just like Naomi, and like Naomi, feeling like I am a woman that had a husband, that had 2 children, and yet I don't get to have the glory or the joy of grandmotherhood. It's like I'm a barren woman. It's like I never even gave birth because I never got to have heirs come out of my sons because they died before they could have children of their own. So I might as well have been a spinster. I might as well have been infertile. I might as well. And that's what Naomi said. And in her bitterness was trying to get out of Moab with just all that sorrow and go back to her people. But then God remembered her and gave her Ruth. And so she got to become a grandmother. Let me read from verse 6. From 5. And Mahlon and Chilion died, also both of them. And the woman was left of her 2 sons and her husband. Okay, then she arose with her daughters-in-law that she might return to her country of Moab. And the woman was left of her 2 sons and her husband. I think she did actually have... No, the husband did die. Okay, let's go into 3. Let's read from 3. Ruth 1:3. And Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left and her 2 sons. I'm sorry, guys. I really can't stand how it is that I do life sometimes. Let me just read from the top. I'm sorry, I don't want to bore you, but you know what? It's the Bible. Love it. Love the word of God. Now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled that there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. All right, so that will be Naomi's husband. And the name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife was Naomi, and the name of his 2 sons Mahlon and Chilion. Ephrathites of Bethlehem and Judah. Ephrathites of Bethlehem, Judah. And they came into the country of Moab and continued them. And Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left. And her and her 2 sons. So the husband died, then she was left with her 2 sons. And they took them wives of the women of Moab. The name of the one was Orpah, and the name of the other Ruth. And they dwelt there about 10 years. And Mahlon and Chilion died also, both of them, and the woman was left of her 2 sons and her husband. Yeah, so in other words, she lost all her kids and her husband. So she was just alone now. Then she arose with her daughters-in-law that she might return from the country of Moab, for she had heard in the country of Moab how the Lord had visited his people, giving them bread. Wherefore she went forth out of the place where she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law with her, and they went on the way to return unto the land of Judah. And Naomi said unto her 2 daughters-in-law, Go, return each to her mother's house. The Lord deal kindly with you, as ye have dealt with the dead and with me. The Lord grant you that ye may find rest, each of you, in the house of her husband. Then she kissed them, and they lifted their voice and wept. And they said unto her, Surely we will return with thee unto thy people. And Naomi said, Turn again, my daughters, why will ye go with me? Are there yet any more sons in my womb, that they may be your husbands? Turn again, my daughters, go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should say, I have hope, if I should have an husband also tonight, and should bear sons, would ye tarry for them till they were grown? Would ye stay for them from having husbands? Nay, my daughters, for it giveth me much for your sakes that the hand of the Lord is gone out against me. So this is Naomi saying that his hand has gone up against me. Okay, and they lifted their voice and wept again. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clave unto her. And she said, Behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back unto her people and unto her gods. Return thou after thy sister-in-law. And Ruth said, Entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. Where thou diest, I will die, and there I will be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if aught but death part thee and me. When she saw that she was steadfastly minded to go with her, then she left speaking unto her. So they went until they came to Bethlehem, and it came to pass when they came to Bethlehem that all the city was moved about them, and they said, Is this Naomi? And she said unto them, Call me not Naomi, call me Mara, for the Lord, for the Almighty hath dealt very bitterly with me. I went out full, and the Lord hath brought me home again empty. Why then call me Naomi, seeing the Lord hath testified against me, and the Almighty hath afflicted me? So So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, with her, which returned out of the country of Moab, and they came to Bethlehem in the beginning of barley harvest. So Naomi felt so sadly and badly dealt with by God that she even wanted to change her name to Mara, okay? Because God had dealt with her bitterly. However, the woman stuck to Jesus. However, the Lord remembered her and brought back home Ruth. And we know what happens going forward in the book of Ruth. Ruth gives birth to Boaz's child, and that kid becomes in the order of Jesus Christ. So God knows how to remember even those that feel like they're Mara. I've been feeling like Mara, like God has dealt bitterly with me, like I am an infertile woman, like I had all these glory years, all this beauty in my youth. I was supposed to marry young and beautifully, enjoy many years with my husband and children, and just have this big fat family. I wanted to have 7 kids and all that jazz. And here it is at all my 40s, my 30s have been spent. And I feel like, whoa, you didn't give me a husband, you didn't give me children, even though you knew I had a very strong desire for them from the time I was 22. I prayed and I fasted and I asked for all of that, and you didn't give it to me. You've dealt bitterly with me. So holding on to the Lord I am indeed. But I've been feeling, ever since especially 2023 came upon us, guys, that, whoa, I'm Mara. Like, I'm literally never going to get anywhere. God, how could you do this to me? But I guess it is what it is. You're God, you're in the heavens, and you do whatever you please. Just please keep me strong in you until whatever it is that you're doing with my life is done. Help me stay strong. And God remembered me. And something happened today. I was supposed to explain it in this part. I didn't, but we will explain it in the next part.